We're promoting Taiwan and stories about Taiwan and to the Taiwanese people themselves, but also abroad, and bring people here to Taiwan, visit it, experience it.
Action. That's how it's done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to Europeans in Taiwan Season 2. This is the video series where me and Momo travel around the entire European Union here in Taiwan. And today, as you can see, we are now in the middle of the Austrian countryside. Talking with Michael Geyer from Austria. Who are you and what brought you to Taiwan in the first place?
Well, what brought me to Taiwan was my wife. So I met her abroad. She's Taiwanese. We used to live first in Austria and then we came to Taiwan. I'm a director of photography, basically a cinematographer or the camera guy.
I thought I was the camera guy. Like,
yeah, today we switch roles.
Stealing my job here.
I think in the last year I shot a couple of 50-minute pieces for German media as well. News stories about Taiwan, but I'm also a photographer, of course. I love to take pictures, as you see. I love to take pictures of Taiwan. Amazing natural beauty and a lot of contrasts, and so that's capturing is very interesting. So yeah, my first time in Taiwan was I think 1998, and 2005 I moved to Taiwan. So almost 20 years. I was into computers, and everything with computers somewhat came from Taiwan. So that's what I was knowing about Taiwan. Internet wasn't that big at that time when I came first, and so a lot of the things you either had to really get the book or go to a library.
Right, it's like the Lonely Planet
travel
guide. Yes.
Funnily enough, I met the guides who actually wrote those books many years later here in Taiwan and traveled with them. So that was an interesting part to it. But there was not really iPhones around or Google Maps or anything. So my thing became, I got the camera, got myself lost. I always said, okay, the interesting part is getting lost. The nice part is when you find a nice spot, you need to remember how to get back to that place later on.
Yes, so many night markets where I just walked around and I'm like, this night market is amazing. And then the next day is I remember I went off at this MRT station and then I walked for 2 hours. It could be anywhere in Taipei.
And it's a funny story. One of the first times I came here and visited my wife's family, thought I knew the way, and I took an MRT and I came back, went out, took a wrong turn, and I'm like, okay, I'm on this crossing with this 7-Eleven. And she was like, okay, that doesn't really help. It's can you, so
I see 2 scooters and a cab.
Yeah,
it's gonna get me.
Exactly.
Is there anything that surprised you about Taiwan, or your first reaction of this is something that we have never done or never seen in Austria?
Honestly, even after 20 years, that's still happening. Not so regularly anymore, but you see 2 people with a fridge on a scooter or, things like this.
How would you explain for your Austrian family or friends who may never been in Taiwan, how just living in Taiwan is?
It's difficult to say because it depends where in Taiwan you live and how long you are in and how much you got integrated in local families, for example. I love eating jodofu, which a lot of foreigners are kind of skeptical because of the smell and the things. More busy here. If you go, especially Taipei, just 50 kilometers surrounding us, 10 million people, and that's more than all of Austria has. And as you see, there's many places like this. You can get away from people here in Taiwan too, but in general, it's just the crowds and the morning travel. Still something that's completely blowing my mind at times. I mean, this is literally where I come from, my hometown area.
Oh, this is your hometown?
Yeah. So this is the Lake District in Austria, the Salzkammergut. And this is my last trip in March. I just passed by and there was the snow and you see the swans a bit and stuff. So that's the quietness and Sound of Music was shot in that area, so that's where I come from. Literally.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually, you're skipping ahead now.
Sorry.
This was one of my next questions actually, because it does look straight from the movie, Sound of Music.
I haven't seen the movie till I met my wife. So.
You're the second Austrian, last year as well.
Oh, really?
She also had never seen it, and she was like, yeah, you know more than me. She couldn't sing any of the songs.
So, a deer, a female deer. A touch of golden sun.
Oh my God, you can sing it better than me.
Mostly doing documentary work. Is it Austrian documentaries or is it more Taiwanese documentaries, or what can we see from you?
So the feature lengths are usually about Taiwan, obviously. Some of the shorter ones are also TV work I did for European stations. So I bring Taiwan to German TV channels, Swiss, and so on. The current one I'm working on, which is a feature length about Taiwan. The main character is called Yani Tseng. She is a golf player, woman performance golf player. And when she was 17, she became #1 in the world. And so for 2 years, she held that position. She was, I think, the youngest, still holding these records as being the youngest female golf player that won Masters tournaments, that was #1 in the world. And she held that for like 2 years. And so we filmed with her already for like 3.5, 4 years. And we also portray how she inspired many young girls to pick up golf and sports in general and inspire them. And so that's the story about that. Hopefully by the end of this year or next year, it will be out and come to either streaming or cinemas.
So you actually do get to you promote Taiwan and also like in this case like Taiwanese athletes as well.
Yes, like some of my other documentaries already right now circling. So we have one documentary on the way, which is on a year-long worldwide tour. We're promoting Taiwan and stories about Taiwan and to the Taiwanese people themselves, but also abroad and bring people here to Taiwan, visit it, experience it. So there's of course a lot of technology coming from Taiwan. There's a lot of like semiconductors and technology in this way. So people already have a little bit of an idea about that, but when they see there's so much more to it, they actually get very interested. So my experience in the last half a year, I've been, as I said, in Amsterdam, I've been in Berlin, I had screenings in LA now. And the interesting thing is when you talk with people there, it's locals as well as overseas Taiwanese or people who just came to Taiwan for like half a year study and so on. And the interesting thing is that every one of them said they learned something new about Taiwan. Not only the foreigners,
even the Taiwanese.
Even the Taiwanese sometimes. And that's the target you really want to have. So everyone can take something out of it. And then, of course, also a certain proudness.
You've lived in Taiwan for 20 years. Has it made you feeling more European or more Austrian as well? Or do you feel like less European and less Austrian?
Well, I'm also the head of the vice president of the Austrian Association here in Taiwan. So
okay, so very Austrian.
I'm trying to cover both sides. So of course as an Austrian, you're always proud of your country and the culture, the landscapes and everything. So we try to promote that with like events we do here. And through that, I see things better on both sides. So like when I go home now, because you just have these 2 weeks or whatever time frame you have. So you're trying to experience it much more intensive.
What would be your like 4-day intense Taiwan traveling and then 4 days intense Austria traveling?
My 4 days intense are probably harsher than most people do. I shot the whole documentary, 50-minute long documentary for German TV in 7 days here. And I traveled almost 2,000 kilometers. If you want to do it in a more vacational setting, Taipei probably, and maybe a little bit of the West Coast like Tainan or Kaohsiung, because you have the HSR now, the high-speed rail, so you could combine that. Really,
I love how you're saying it like you have the HSR now.
Yes,
Because you've been it wasn't here when you came here, but for me, the HSR has always existed.
So again, we could go. Maybe we should do more episodes in a different way, like reflecting on the history or something. I still remember like there were 2 freeways, but each had just 2 lanes. So if you traveled to the south, you either had like these overland buses with the sofa chairs, or you had to go by car. And most of the time, you were stuck in traffic jams. So a Tainan trip would be 6-7 hours sometimes if you had bad luck. So yes, HSR is a new thing for us. Luckily, there's direct flights to Vienna from Taipei or from Taoyuan.
Right, that is a new thing.
So no, it's quite a while already. Well, some of them stopped over in Bangkok, so it was a direct flight, but you had to get off the plane and go on it. It's the same flight.
Okay, okay.
You know, Vienna is an amazing city. Come from Salzburg, so there's a little bit of rivalry there. But I have to admit, you can spend just 4 days in Vienna just by going through the city, museums, culture, concerts, everything there. But that's of course just the city. So if you want to go into the countryside, then you could take a train ride to Salzburg. Christmas time is beautiful there. It really depends which season you go, but there's always something to do in Austria.
Or just like stay for a year and you get like all the seasons.
True, yeah. I mean, there's some, for younger people, I think there's the working holiday visa, I think it's called. The Austrian office is actually helping with that. I think you have to be under 30, I think, or something like that. Both of us are not helping on that, but then you can actually go and it allows you to also work, so you can make some money while you're staying there, so you can extend for like I think a year.
And you have it a year then, the whole year.
Yes,
yeah,
and
perfect.
It's so Taiwan has that for Austrians as well. So if Austrians want to come to Taiwan, they can also apply for this working holiday visa, as far as I know, and then you can do the same thing in Taiwan.
I should also clarify that we are actually not recording this from Austria, from Salzburg. We are actually in Nehu right now. in, I must say, most amazing studio I've ever had the honor to visit myself. You said you were a DP slash cinematographer.
Yes, so director of photography, not only on a bigger production, not only holds the camera, he controls the whole visual side of a production. So he has to work tightly together with a director. You control everything that's static in the image, and the director works with the actors, basically. I mean, you already have some nice cameras here, but the bigger ones, you really need, like, each camera operator has like 2 or 3 assistants.
And here I am struggle all by myself on my YouTube channel.
I still do that on my documentaries as well. So most of them don't have this kind of budget, but it's nice when you work on big sets. So yeah.
Is there any difference either on like the work itself between like how things are done in Europe and in Taiwan, or maybe just like this has a Taiwanese style, this has like a European style?
If you just compare TV, they tend to be a little bit more cutish in the way how they present everything. They have a lot of like noises and cartoons and everything.
Just like YouTube.
Exactly. And while in Austrian TV, it's kind of presented to be more serious. So you wouldn't really have that with kind of this additional sound track with like all kinds of bing bongs and ding dongs and things played on. Even warning signs have like a cute character in there. I arrived at the airport, this sign which like you're not allowed to bring certain substances and, you know, fines and whatever. And it was accompanied by a massive, cute little dog that was sitting there. And so it's like, it's the fines and you should be scared and you shouldn't bring in. But it's a cute dog to make it not that harsh. So I think that sums it up quite to the point what the difference are in the style. Regarding the work itself, I think there's a certain cultural difference. So Taiwan people are very polite. They're not very direct in the way how they work.
In the end of these videos, I also want to ask, like, how can we get an Austrian experience here in Taiwan? But now you told me that you're did you say vice president?
Vice president, yes.
Of the Austrian
Taiwan Society. There is unfortunately no Austrian restaurant in Taipei. There's a Bavarian one. The guy who runs it is actually literally coming 30 kilometers from where I come from Salzburg, and he's from just on the other side in Bavaria. So every third Friday we have at his restaurant, which is called Der Löwe, the Lion, we have a gathering open for anybody. So the core is Austrians, and we promote Austrian dishes, and there's some, well, we don't have Austrian beer, but German beer, Bavarian beer. So
not the same.
I
could hear the way that you said it. It was like, it's not as good, but what can we do?
Oh yeah, it's like, exactly. You work with what you have, and everyone is welcome, be it Europeans, but also Taiwanese or all around the world. So you can meet many people. If you're new to Taiwan, you can meet locals who you can go out then and do things, and the other way around. We try to do like cultural hikes with a little bit of guidance, where we last time was in Inge, where we go to the ceramic street and we do a little bit hike in the mountains. We also do like an Easter picnic where we do Easter egg hunt for the kids. So it's kind of trying to combine both sides of the cultural side. We do an Oktoberfest where we have an Austrian triathlon, which is like beer drinking and beer holding, and you know, it's again like working the stereotypes a little bit, but
who can eat the Wiener Schnitzel the fastest?
It's sausages in this case, but yeah, it's, and you can win a dinner for 2. So
yeah. There we go. After you finished all the sausages.
Not the same day. You can come on a different day. Okay. So they have proper beer glasses with 1 liter, and
nice. So, what do you call those in like Austria?
Well, I'm coming close to the Bavarian area, so we call it Moss. But in Vienna, you call it Krüger, because we have so many valleys and mountains. So we actually have very different regional languages to a degree. It's all German, but some areas used to even be hard to understand for ourselves.
Austrian food. What is Austrian food? In my head, it's like Wiener Schnitzel.
What we have there as well. Yeah. Not the proper one with veal, because veal is hard to get here in Taiwan. So it's just a cheaper version as pork, which is the more common version in Austria as well. We also have something called Kaiserschmarrn, which is like a French crab, but just like thicker. You can get the first taste here, but for the real taste, you have to go there, unfortunately, yeah.
Hopefully Taiwanese people have watched this video and they have been convinced enough to actually book that direct flight to Vienna or Salzburg, which apparently is much better. You're not allowed to say that as the vice president. I can say that. It's my own personal opinion. What is something that the average Taiwanese should know before visiting, or should they like prepare in any way other than it might actually be snow in the Austrian mountains?
The seasons, of course, are a big difference. Be aware of holidays because unlike Taiwan, where everything is open 24 hours or like 7 days in the week, in Austria the holidays and also the weekends are very strictly followed. So a lot of shops are closed down on weekends and also on public holidays. So
shops are closing down on weekends too?
Yes, even like supermarkets. I mean, it's getting a little bit more flexible these days, and also like the vacation areas, they open a bit longer. But it used to be like Saturday noontime, everything would close till Monday. If it's a day off, it's a day off, and nobody works, and everyone goes enjoy themselves in nature and hiking and other things.
Hopefully, since we reminded everyone last year, you have already watched Sound of Music, but is there anything else people might enjoy from like Austria, like here in Taiwan?
Concerts and cultural events coming that the Austrian office here also organizing. Quite a number of Taiwanese musicians that study classical music in Austria, and they are back here in Taiwan. So there's events and concerts they are giving. So keep an eye open. Usually we have our association also has a Facebook site. So if there's an event, we always publish it and push it as well.
And of course, you will have all the possible links down in the description, both to the Austrian Taipei Society and also to the Austrian office here in Taipei as well. And of course, we do have a Mumu giveaway. So if you do head over to the European Union office, EETO, here in Taipei, you can actually head over there, follow them on social media, follow their instructions when this video is being shared on their social media as well. And you have the chance to win some, for this year, brand new gifts and giveaways straight from Mumu as well. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lucas. It starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one. Perfect.
So is it on purpose in Swedish colors?
No, that's what I keep telling them. I keep telling everyone, like, you see, they pick the Swedish colors, but it's
I understand it's also the European.
It's also the European
things,
colors.
Yeah, it's like